Hi there, Saturn class. Today we're going to look at turns and right angles. So we know an angle is the point at which two lines meet, and we also know it's an amount of turn. If you think about those lines, picture in your mind the lines you drew and the fact that you have to meet two lines at a point and measure your angle, and what you're measuring is the point of turn, so how much that line has turned. So today, before we start, I'm going to get you to do a little job into your yellow books. So pause me if you need to get your yellow book. Once you've got your yellow book, you're going to answer this question. My computer's going slow. Okay, first you're going to count in nines and stop at the fourth multiple. Write that down. Okay, next job you're going to do is count in 90s and stop at the fourth multiple. I wonder if you know why I've chosen 90. That's right, the degrees in a right angle is 90. So when you count in 90s, you should have this next set of numbers because you relate it to your nines, but you are counting 10 times more. A lot of people say just add a 0, but we know that it's 10 times more. 10 times 9 is 90. So the numbers you should have on your screen now, in your book, I've got them on my screen, 90, 180, 270 and 360. I'm wondering if anybody knows why we have stopped at the fourth multiple. Don't worry if you don't, I will show you. I'm wondering if anybody can think back to when we did angles and we looked at 90 degrees and 180 degrees. So let's think about some links. So 90 degrees is a right angle. 180 degrees is a straight line. It's a straight line. Think back to your protractor. That line along the bottom is 180 degrees, because if you have two 90-degree angles on a straight line, two 90s make 180. So 270 is 3 lots of 90. 3 lots of 90. So how many right angles is 270? That's correct, it's 3 right angles. So we now know then that 360 degrees is how many right angles? That's correct, it's 4 right angles. Now, the reason why we need to know this is because we're looking at turns now. So what I want you to do is have a look at, I'll get my red dot out, hopefully. I want you to have a look at this one here. Okay, so I've got one right angle. We can link it also to our fractions. We can say that 90 degrees is a quarter of a complete turn. So one right angle is a quarter of a complete turn, and that's 90 degrees. So if I turn 90 degrees, I'm turning a quarter of the way round. Okay. 1/2 of a complete turn is 180. So here I'm doing a half turn. I'm going from this line, a quarter turn, another quarter turn, and there's a half turn, and that's 180 degrees. So there's a box there, and we would fill that in and we would say half of a complete turn is 180 degrees. It's 2 quarter turns, a half turn. Okay, down on this one here we've now got 3 right angles. And we said, didn't we, that 3 right angles 270. How many quarters have we turned? We've turned 1, 2, 3 quarters. So 3 quarters of a complete turn is 270. And the last one is 1 complete turn. So I want you to imagine if you were standing and you were facing, say for example, you were facing your window, your living room window. If you did a complete turn all the way to face the same window, you would have turned 360 degrees. You would have turned 4 right angles. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now in class we would probably have this up on a display to remind us. So I want you to pause the video, and if you can, draw out some beautifully straight right angles and draw out all of this work on turns and label in the amount of degrees and label in the fraction of a complete turn. So you can pause the video and write that out into your yellow books. Okay, so in class what we probably would have done with this is make our own angle strip. So you may not have all of the equipment to do that. For example, a split pin or fastener is what they suggest to use. Don't worry, I'm going to show you how you can make one without these things. But if you do have 2 paper strips and a fastener and a sheet of paper, then you can pause the video and make yourself an angle strip. If you don't have that, don't worry, because there is another way you can do it. Okay, there you go. But there is another way to practice this. I'm going to show you that in a second, so don't worry if you haven't got those bits of equipment. We can do it a different way. Before we move on though, I'm going to ask you a few questions. So let's just recap. 2 right angles make up something. What do 2 right angles make up? They make up 180 degrees, so 2 lots of 90. 4 right angles is the same as what complete turn? So 4 right angles is the same as 1 complete turn. And what fraction of a complete turn is 270? So if we think 1 whole turn is 4 quarters, 4 out of 4, 270 makes up 3 quarters of a complete turn. 3 lots of 90 is 270. So remember I said there is another way to practice making an angle strip. I'm going to show you that now. Okay, so what I've done is I've got a piece of paper, an ordinary A4 piece of paper. I folded it into 4 quarters and I drew the lines to make 4 quarters. So let's use this to recap. Here is a 1 quarter turn. Okay, that is 90 degrees. Here is another quarter degree turn. Quarter and a quarter make a half, and we know 290 degrees, there's one, there's another one, is 180 degrees. Here is another quarter turn. 1, 2, 3 quarter turns is 270 degrees. And if I were to go back to the start again, that would be 1 whole turn, because 4 quarters make a whole, 4 out of 4, and that would be 360 degrees. Now, I said to you I would help you make another angle strip if you didn't have paper and a fastener. So you'll notice that my lolly stick here didn't move. So you could use lolly sticks, or you could use a pencil, or another sheet. You can use just a small strip of paper, and you would glue that down because that's the starting point. Okay, and then if you were to use a lolly stick, for example, or a strip of paper, if it's different colours, or colour it in, that would help as well. Nice and straight. And we're going to start at this starting point. I'm going to turn 1/4, and we've turned 90 degrees. Okay, we turn 2/4, or a half turn. We're now facing the opposite way. So that's 180 degrees. And then I can just scooch that down there a bit. And then I've got 270 degrees because I've gone 1, 2, 3/4 of the way round, and then I close it all up back to where I started. And do you remember I said imagine you're facing your lounge window? You can do a whole turn round to face your lounge window again. Okay, so you can use other equipment that you may have. In class, I have used in the past smaller pencils. The children quite often ask me why I save small pencils. It is usually for this job. So if you've got shorter pencils, they will work as well. And then if you were to glue down a strip of coloured paper, that will help you keep one of your the starting point. That will help you keep it in the same place. Now you're going to need to know what activities you're going to do today. So here we go. What you're going to do is use your Inspire book. You're going to use your Inspire book on pages 117 and 118. Okay, and then, so you answer the questions there, and then on your Google Classroom I have put a Turns and Angles PowerPoint and a sheet that you can be having a go at as well. That sheet will be a PDF, so you can write the answers into your books, into your yellow books, and the PowerPoint would be useful if you opened it up into a presentation, because there's some questions on there that will help your understanding of turns and angles. Okay, well, good luck everybody. I'm sure you'll find this fairly straightforward, but if you're confused about anything, just message me on the dojo. If you are unsure of what to be doing, please do let me know.